I would say the fundamental things around hydration, the things that we see athletes doing wrong all the time, which I think they can correct, is the first one is to like start sessions well hydrated. But the thing is, when you tell athletes to start sessions well hydrated, they probably just going to drink tons of water in the build up, thinking that that's what you've got to do. And I'd say don't do that. Try having a very, very strong electrolyte drink. We make the pH 1500, which is about 3 times as strong as a regular sports drink, and just have a serving of that about an hour before you go out. And that, what happens then is the electrolytes in there pull more fluid into your bloodstream. They hold it there, so you start with a better blood volume, and you're more ready to take the session on. And then when you're getting into the session, it depends a lot on how long you're going for, how much you sweat, what the weather's going to be like, and that's where probably the online sweat test that we do can come in handy, because as you've done it yourself, it's free, it's very easy and quick, and that will give you some ideas as to whether you're someone, it sounds like you've got low, medium, high or very high losses, and then we can give you a bit of a strategy to follow in there. And those strategies are often sort of guardrails rather than precise prescriptions, because it's impossible actually for anyone to tell you exactly what you need to drink and exactly how much and exactly when. But if you get some parameters around, the 2 important things is like how much to drink in terms of volume per hour roughly, and then how much sodium to have with that fluid, you can then take those numbers and play around in a zone around them and sort of do trial and error to get it right for yourself. And I think if you do that, and as well as starting sessions pre-hydrated, you're going a long way to figuring it out for yourself and getting the recipe right for you. And the worst thing people can do is copy what someone else does. Because if you copy someone whose physiology or whose environment is a lot different to yours, then you can be well off the mark. So I would say, think of yourself as an individual and get this right for you, and don't worry about what other people are doing.
Yeah, that's a great point, because, for yourself, you're a pretty salty sweater. And for me, I think I'm on the high end, but not as much, obviously not as much as you. And then there could be others who have a much better tolerance. So key is to really just experiment with yourself, across different distances, across running and biking, and see how you perform.
Well, you mentioned Paul's swim smooth thing, where he's got his different swim types. That's always a great analogy for me, because there's no point, people say, what kind of drills should I do to improve my swimming? And it kind of totally depends on what the faults are in your swim stroke or what your body type does, because there's no point in getting some people to do a certain type of drill if they're a certain type of swimmer. And that's what Paul's done brilliantly, is identify these different categories that most of us fall into, and then given kind of corrective ideas of what tends to work for that type of person. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in a way with hydration plans, is like, there's no one plan that works for everyone. So we can throw that myth out straight away. But that doesn't also mean that there's got to be a totally bespoke and individual plan for every single person. We just need to figure out what type of person you are. Then we know roughly what works. And then it's over to you to play around in that zone and get it dialed perfectly.